Who is more competitive?
Mary.
Chris.
Mary.
Chris, okay.
Okay. Who's the better deal closer?
Angela.
Mary.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to In the House podcast. I'm Tony Singh.
And I'm Jenny Woon.
We have a super amazing episode for today.
Yes.
What a great idea, Jenny.
Thank you.
Okay, we have two very special husband and wife real estate teams on with us, joining us this morning. And for those of you listeners that cannot see the background, we have Mary and Konstantin Kleiner and their baby with them in the background.
Fifth baby.
Fifth baby, amazing. They are with Team Kleiner. And we also have Angela and Chris Dinnell joining us today. Well, Jenny, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the dynamics and why you wanted to have a husband-wife teams basically on today? I would imagine it's a challenge in itself.
Yeah, I got this idea about this topic because I know that it's already hard having partners and assistants on your team, but let alone like you're working with your partner, your life partner in the business as well. And so our topics typically surround life balance, infusing personal life and work life together. And I felt like having a husband-wife conversation, but having like real people and guests on to really understand how their day-to-day operation works.
I'm so curious.
In the house and at work. So I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself. Let's start with Chris and with Angela. Please introduce who you guys are and who you're with and how you guys started in the business.
I'm Angela Dinnell, and this is Chris Dinnell. We are with Remax West Coast. Like Jenny said, we used to be with Oakwin. We actually started in the business, well, I did first, about 6 years ago, all just about. And I started with my sister out in the valley, so the Fraser Valley. That dynamic was okay. And then Chris got interested maybe like 6 months after me.
She was having so much fun, I wanted to enjoy
Well,
the
yeah,
ride.
he was actually thinking of becoming a mortgage broker. And then he switched his script. Yeah, and then he ended up joining myself and my sister. And then things were okay, but we were actually living in Richmond and we were driving out to the valley. So that was a bit of a pain in the butt too. That's working harder, not smarter, right? Especially when Chris is born and raised in Richmond. Like, why are we doing that? I remember even driving out there for a single showing and taking some buyers into a place, and within 10 seconds they're like, oh no, this is not for us. And I get back in the car and I for a 30-second showing. So I was like, this isn't working out. So we ended up parting ways. Chris and I went on our honeymoon in Mexico, and we were in the pool. We were having some drinks, and we just decided in that moment, like, we're gonna go another way. And we came back, and we started that very difficult process of switching, leaving with my family, and then making the venture out, and then we ended up joining with Oakwin, and it just felt so perfect for us because we were so new, and Oakwin was such a nurturing, I guess that's such a good word, a nurturing brokerage, that it was really the right place for us. So we just started building the business little bit by bit. We had our bedroom in our house that was allocated as our office, and every morning we would go into that room and we would stay there all day without getting a single paycheck for over 6 months. So we did a lot of hard blood, sweat, and tears, and leading on a lot of faith that this was going to work out. And by the way, we have 4 kids. So
We don't have 5 though.
we have 4 kids. Yeah.
Wow. And baby L.
Pretty hard for a while.
Catch up. We got time to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically.
So that's how we got started. Yeah.
Awesome. You guys have a really strong presence in Richmond.
Yeah. What about Mary and Konstantin and baby L?
We started our business we fell into it-ish through like evolution and transition. We have a moving company that we've been running for, almost 10 years. And we deal with lots of real estate agents and property management. And just kind of over time, it kind of made sense for us to grow the business. And so we thought real estate made sense for us. We're sitting there during, COVID thinking like, what else to do. And it's an interesting story. We expanded our business by having a storage unit, and when we got our like giant warehouse accepted, our lease, it was on the first day of COVID, and we're like, oh great, how are we gonna fill this warehouse in the middle of a pandemic? But it worked out really well, and Con was thinking about doing his real estate license, and I thought, well, if you're kind of sitting around and I'm seeing the material all day. And let's be realistic, I'm doing all the paperwork, so I might as well do this exam with you. And so, we took the exam together, and here we are. And we fell in love with Oakland, and we felt like it was a really good, fit for us. A lot of our core values were very similar to Oakland's, so it worked out really well for us.
And who do you primarily service? Constant,
So we
Con, and
primarily
Mary.
service families and people downsizing. They're actually our target demographic for moving anyways. So that's our whole community, to be honest with you. And it's been great. I think we provide a huge value, because we help them and all the stuff that they can't. And it's a nice transition.
Yeah, we have a huge clientele base, from that, a trusted clientele base. And so hopefully through that network, we hope to grow the real estate side. And we kind of know the trends of all of our clients and their habits and whatnot. So I think for us, it made sense as a transition.
And Angela and Chris, do you guys have an assistant? Like, how big is your team at the moment?
Oh, we do have an assistant, yes. So beginning of last year, our business really took off. And we were getting a little too stressed with how much work we had, and trying to, I guess, balance that, life and work, balance of life. And so we brought on my son, who had just graduated high school. He's now 19. He came on as our full-time assistant, and absolutely has loved it. And now has passed his real estate course as of
His exam.
About 2 months ago. So he should be fully licensed in the next few months, and will be our first.
He's done everything, and they're backlogged right now because of COVID.
We're waiting for them to a stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So, and then he can start actually being a buyer's agent, which will be great for us. We also have another agent named Marley Tex, who's been an agent for over 30 years with Remax. She is going to be retiring this year, so we're kind of coming together and helping her with her business moving forward.
And is there a model, like a business model or like a team model, where you kind of have copied, or has Remax kind of helped you how to structure your business, or how to pay your teammates and no?
How do you guys divide your responsibilities, I guess, within the team, and also your responsibility to your families? And that would be a question for both, but I guess Angela and Chris, you can go first, and then I'm curious as well what Mary and Con have to say.
How we divide our responsibilities was really just based on after working together for at least 6 months and finding out who's good at what, naturally, right? So everybody's kind of doing everything. That's Chris and I. And then finding out who excels in an area more so than the other person, who enjoys a task more than the other person, and that's kind of how we decided. And it took time to see really who was going to stand out in certain areas, and it just authentically and naturally happened. And then with Scott, our assistant, we're kind of putting a lot of things on him, and learning now slowly over time what things he's really good at and what things maybe can be reallocated back to myself or back to Chris or to somebody else in the future. And that's kind of how we diversified the different tasks that need to get done in a day.
And we, and I think also too, with joining Remax a few years ago, Oakland was great for us, but because we are in Richmond, we really needed to be around a Richmond office and other Richmond agents. And we felt that our Remax office here had all the top players in Richmond out of it. So we've been very, I guess, gracious and grateful the fact that we're able to have lunch with these other big, teams here in our office and get to know them and, get some tips from them on how they run their business. At the end of the day, there's always enough business for all of us, so there's no competition. Of course, there's some little competition that we like to joke about, but at the end of the day, there's always enough business, and we need to help each other so that we can all branch out and be the best we can be.
Okay, so how do we split our duties? I just want to, Angela, you're very kind by saying you guys pick, what is it, your strengths. I kind of say whoever has a weakness, the other person's like, okay, I'll do that instead. I'll pick up your slack. It's kind of our style, but no, we have very clear, like, we are like literally yin and yang, I think. We balance of scales is kind of what I call it. What he doesn't like, I love to do. And I think like we're so lucky that it works out. And, I'm pretty sure you guys agree. There's not a lot of us out there that can work together, live together, raise kids. Like you're 24 hours, 7 days a week together. And so we're very lucky that our work styles don't clash. So it works really well. And I think that's how we just naturally divide it. And we kind of just naturally kind of fall into place without kind of dispute or arguing with it.
We have a philosophy that if neither of us like something, we're going to hire the best person who actually likes doing that.
Yeah.
And we will pay them whatever they want.
Yeah.
We're happy to pay.
Yeah.
We just need it done right, up to the expectations. Everything else will fall in place.
That's right. So like we don't sweat about like, oh, I can't figure this out. You go, okay, well, we're not an expert in it. We understand that. So let's find who loves to do it, and they'll help us. So that's kind of
Yeah, we're always happy to pay.
That's great mindset to have. Curious though, because you guys are both, it sounds like you're all both aligned in your relationships and the way that you're running your businesses. I'm just curious then, it's an amazing thing to see. So definitely a credit to all of you. How do you, what are the ages of each of your kids? Because obviously kids go through different stages, right? Sometimes when they're younger, they require a little bit more help. Who's watching the kids while you guys are out there hustling, or do you integrate them into your routines? Mary's breastfeeding right now, I think, by the way, while we're talking, which is anything a mom will get. Yeah.
We plan everything. I am a spreadsheet kind of person. If it's not in our calendar, we're not doing it. So our calendar is very colorful and very laid out and planned months ahead. So if there's a birthday, we go, okay, what city is it in? Okay, can I line up an open house or something around that when I drop off the kid? I know some that we just moved out in that area. We'll book a lunch during this, so it's a very strategic planning with like really intense logistics. And I just kind of map it all out and maximize every minute we have. We do everything a lot together. It's really rare that we split up and do things because I think together we're a powerhouse. So, whether we're, I want to say prospecting or networking at a birthday party or whatever, we have different styles too. And so I feel that together we're stronger together, especially because we have our kids and we take our kids everywhere. Khan's able to do something while I can quickly dash off and do something else. But together we still have equal presence where we're at, if that kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah.
And how old are your kids?
Oh, yeah. So we have 10, 8, 5, 3, and 5 months, which is baby Ella right
Wow,
now.
that's
Hopefully
that's
passing out.
crazy. I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah, they're 2.5 years apart from each other's.
Your 10-year-old needs to 9 more years later.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was gonna say Angela and I are very lucky because we were both we're a blended family and we were both teenage parents. So our kids are much older.
Call that lucky.
It wasn't. We didn't feel as lucky at the time, but now we feel we're in our early 40s and our kids are almost all moved out. So our kids are 23, 22, 19, 14. So we have one more kid in high school. Angela's
Well,
son.
the 14-year-old is the baby, and he requires, a little watering, a little feeding. Like, he's good. So, yeah, he's in grade 9.
So we're going to have to connect later, and I'm going to have to get all those tips from you of how to survive teenager years.
Well, we didn't do real estate when our kids were young. And I know a lot of people, even out of our office here, that only one spouse is a realtor that's a female and busting her butt 24/7 with infants. And it just blows my mind. It's like seems so impossible. The energy that is required mentally and physically for this job, along with having small kids, I don't know how you do it. So hats off to you, girl.
Yes, ma'am.
We always forget the icebreaker question. I'm going to ask it now, but it's going to be a bit of a different twist because we're in couple mode here.
Okay.
The question typically is, what is your spirit animal? But here's the twister. It needs to be a pack animal. So how would you, Team Kleiner, what spirit animal would you be if you were a pack animal?
It took us a long. We actually talked about this at home. We did the homework.
Do insects count?
Yeah. So it's funny. I always thought that Mary was a queen ant, where like you have this small, unassuming person, and she can move mountains, and you don't know what's happening underneath. And ants are actually the strongest species on the planet because they can lift 6 times their body size. And and the queen ant, she like coordinates this big show. She sends out all these armies. Everything comes back, and I always thought that like Mary's just like quiet and assuming and just moves mountains.
That is so lovely for a husband to say.
I know. I was like, what? I'm an ant? Excuse me? I was like, I thought I was like,
Queen bee?
yeah, but no, I kind of agree with that. We're under the surface. We work a lot. We do a lot in our community, and we love engagement, and it's kind of our core value of stuff like that, and it drives us. And so I guess I have to agree with him. We're a bunch of working ants that kind of just you put a rock in front of that trail, they're gonna climb over it, move it, break it down. They're just gonna go through it. So
Okay, Angela and Chris.
I don't know if I understand the question. Is this what we are as a couple pack animal? Can we remind ourselves what are the pack animals? I didn't know about this question in advance. Do you know what would you say? I don't even know.
It's a surprise question.
I don't know, I would say we're like a lion.
Is the lion a pack animal?
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah,
think
they
so.
are
Yep.
actually. They
And
were.
I'd say lion because we're so determined to conquer and just
Chris, who's the king of the jungle?
the lion. Oh, out of us?
No, but which one?
Oh, she's the boss. I'm just the eye
Yeah.
candy. That's what I say. Yeah, Angela's the boss. I'm the eye candy. And if you're watching this right now, it's totally the opposite.
The YouTube viewers can attest to this. I guess they can put a comment below.
Yeah. You guys both talked about your strengths. So I want to know from Team Dinnell what your strengths are individually, and I guess that's what you guys would be focusing on, and basically taking over kind of that role.
I'll do your strengths. You do mine.
No, I'll do mine. You do yours.
I wanna do-
I'll get in
I-
trouble for it after.
No. We're gonna do.
Okay, let's do
we're gonna
opposites.
play a game of opposite strengths because I love talking about Chris's strengths and not so much about my own. I think it's easy for me to identify what other people's strengths are very quickly. Maybe that would be one of my strengths, but Chris is he's an instant connector, right? So he can walk into a room and just instantly connect, which is such a powerful skill in this business. So he can do that at an open house or he's an amazing networker, both have which brought us so many clients. By, if you put another realtor in that same situation, would they have walked out with a new client? 6 times out of 10, probably not. He is just so good at it. So he is always our front and center person. In any situation, he'll always get thrown into, if somebody needs to go on fast and get something done, it's going to be Chris. So yeah, I would say that is his largest strength, and I think it's one of the most important skills, because in our job, I think a lot of people can do this job, but it's a matter of can you get a client, right? Because if you don't have a client, you can't do the job. So I think it's one of the most important skills, and he is a 100 out of 10 on that.
Oh, thank you, baby. Well, and Angela is she is an absolute warrior when it comes to holding the team together, just being our strength. Like she is our rock. She is a absolutely amazing negotiator. She doesn't let anybody push her around. Where sometimes I'm the soft one, she's absolutely the strong one. So she's our rock and holds this whole team together. If there's no Angela, there's no team. So.
I have a question, Angela. When you were working with your sister, do you feel that strength and that attribute like really was not shown in that
Oh,
dynamic?
no, because my sister's a lot like me. And she was in the business first.
Yeah, they sound like opposites.
What ended up happening is because she's 5 years older than me, I felt the dynamic just was like it put us back to when we were kids again. And I was coming into her business, right? She invited me in to be her assistant to start off with, which I was super graceful for. It was a great learning experience, but I just feel like we just became those little sisters again. And I don't think I was in the right environment where I could grow. I needed to be on my own, right? So I don't think it just wasn't the right setting. And Chris and I just happened to have always worked so well together. Even when we weren't working together, he would come home and tell me about his day at work, and I'd be like, "Oh no, you need to do this. You got to go back tomorrow. You got to do that.
She's always telling me what to do.
You got to. This is not right. Like whatever the situation was, I always had his back, and so I think that helped him out a lot.
How about Mary and Con?
I think we're quite similar. I think we got to meet up after this. But strength, my strength is processes. I kind of like when a problem comes down, my mind just goes, and I go, what are the options? And I kind of like line everything up and go like, okay, here are all your solutions. And that's kind of how my mind works. And, I'm not a crazy extrovert like Konstantin. He's so good at talking to people. So, but I think his strength, not to speak for him, but he never talks about it, is he's so calm and he's so chill and nothing like upsets him. Like I could just like smash everything in this room. He'd be like, okay, let's figure it out and, whatever. And so he's very calm and, because of him, he never sees a problem as a problem. He goes, great, it's an opportunity. He's so optimistic. It blows my mind. And sometimes because I'm such a process person and so analytic, I get stuck. And he goes, no, like, it's all good. Wait a few days. And, I like to get things done and I like to receive results. But he's like, it's okay to wait like 5 minutes or a day, and I'm like, what do you mean wait a day? Like, I gotta get this stuff done. So yeah.
This is actually a perfect example though, right? You guys are really drawing on each other's strengths and you're complementing strengths and weaknesses, which is why I could see this being an amazing synergy between these two teams. So as you guys know, in a relationship, husband-wife relationship, and in running a business, especially a real estate one, communication is just so key, right? With our clients, with each other, in order to have things run effectively and efficiently. I'm curious if either of your teams use certain tools that help you guys effectively communicate with one another.
For us, if you don't mind me going first,
yeah, of course.
Our number one rule, where it's family, kids, business, anything, is being on the same page. If we're not on the same page, going in the same direction, there's a problem. And so our communication tools is to be on the same page. As we have like a million chat rooms with everybody. Like if we were buddies, like we would create an automatic chat room with like Jenny and the Kleiners, and people listening will be like, oh yeah, we have a chat room with the Kleiners. That's right. And so this allows us to get all the information at the same time and to absorb it, so then we can make a quicker decision. It's not like, oh, Jenny sent me a message about this, and this, and this. Did you read the screenshot I gave you or whatever? It's like we're on the same page right away. Our emails are synced to each other's phones. There's no we're a team. There's no hidden secrets here. So when someone sends a message thinking like maybe I don't read it, I'm gonna see that email, guys. Just saying. And same with Konstantin. So we see everything, and it really keeps us on the same page, and we have a mutual understanding that that's how it works for us. Not everyone's like that, and it's a lot of like blinded kind of unconditional trust that we have with each other. And I think that really is a big thing. Like, and we talk about everything together. So we actually talked about this about another client that we dealt with, or another agent we saw, and he was so stressed and by himself. And I just think like, wow, how grateful are we to be able to talk about everything all the time, at any time when we're upset, and just and the other person can relate and help problem solve and troubleshoot with you. I think that's a huge win for us. Where I could think like, if I came home from a long day and I couldn't talk to my spouse about something or clear my mind, like that's a big burden to carry. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
If you guys share emails, you won't never be able to pull off a surprise for each other. Or like online gift purchases. By the way, honey, I bought a TV screen from Amazon.
Surprise.
A TV from Amazon. Angela and Chris, let's chat about how you guys communicate.
Yeah, so we feel like we're pretty good communicators, and that was a work in progress. So for anybody listening, like nothing perfect happens overnight. We were actually really poor communicators when we first met, if that makes anybody feel better. And what we did was we had relationship meetings similar to his BNI one-to-ones. I said, why don't we do relationship one-to-ones? So we started doing those once a week. This is years ago. And it completely changed our relationship. We were able to connect on a weekly basis for about 30 minutes in a very neutral environment and discuss anything from the past week that we were not currently emotionally charged about, and just talk about things, because that way it kind of avoids ever having arguments. If you're always just checking in on something that happened last week that maybe is still festering inside of you, or things that you're not even just that, but also like what your goals are for yourself this week, what you want accountability from the other person for. And so it's really just being in alignment with how we can help each other and how we can avoid getting into arguments. Because I always say to Chris, if we're not good, like we have to be number one as a couple, because if we're not good and we're not a couple, then there is no business. So if we break down, then I think that everything needs to stop, and that we need to go right to that, fix it, and then get back to our life. So I'm pretty adamant about that, and Chris agrees. And then secondly, like just tools that we have a shared drive on our computers where all of our documents go. We share a calendar. We're constantly just checking in. We're not nearly as organized as you guys with like your like little chat rooms, but like that's a good. I've learned.
Angela hates chat rooms. That's why.
There's too many things, like too many things, but like I don't hate on that idea. Sometimes we'll do like group texts with clients and get all of us on there, but mostly one of us will be assigned the client, and that will be the lead person. So if we don't both jump in on the client, typically I'll work with the sellers and he'll work with the buyers. That can vary depending on a relationship, but we tend to like take lead roles in certain things, and then so that way we're not stressing. Like I don't have 20 clients at one time, I might only have 10, right? Or whatever it may be. You just don't want to overwhelm. So that's how we work.
Yeah, those are very different models there.
They're both good tips though,
Yeah.
right? It just depends on the person, I think.
I want to add in a quick one that I was just thinking about. Maybe it's just us, but we have like all these like little like rules that we kind of like abide by to make sure we're on the same page. And so one of the rules we have is the rule of 3. If we argue or have a dispute, I should say, about something, and we are arguing about it more than, let's say, 3 times or 3 days, or the occasion has come up more than 3 times, then our rule is eliminate the problem, because we need to stick together and we have to band together. So like it can be as hardcore as an employee that's causing issues. Sorry, we're gonna let you go, buddy. It could be anything.
It could be a client.
Yeah.
If a client's being unreasonable and just, and
Yeah.
we ourselves are getting on 2 different sides of it,
Yeah.
then we're going to say, you know what?
And
It's better that we
Yeah.
save ourselves than.
Yeah, and
than
the client could be completely right, but we're like, okay, it's kind of, this is too much.
It's not for us.
It's not for us. We got to eliminate the
I
problem.
love that.
I
So
love
take a
it.
note of that one.
We just adopt.
Angela, what did you learn most about yourself after working together with Chris?
In the beginning, that I had a lot of growing to do. I had a lot of, I don't know, like I was at first, because Chris's personality, like he was always a star player in the beginning, because he was always out there. He's so much easier at it that it made me I was having issues with us and mostly, I guess, with myself. So I had to learn that I needed some growing to do. I had to learn really like how to do this job and be a good networker or put myself out there because I'm a little bit more introverted as well in my own way. So I really just I think I just saw I think I saw the negative sides of myself really up close and personal for the first time, that I wasn't able to mask them anymore because I was head on with them. And Chris was very kind through that process, right? Like he didn't make me like it was a process that I had to go through, and he didn't make me feel bad about it. He would always encourage me, but that's what I had learned. So I feel like this is wrapping into one of your other questions, like how I've grown, but like for me would be, I would say, like miles in the last number of years, into being the person that I truly want to be, and not leading by fear, leading by love, and doing it in my own way.
And I'd have to say the same as well. I think when we first got in this business, there's so much negativity coming from outside walls. Family, friends. Oh, it's so tough to be a realtor. This and that.
You'll never make it.
You'll never make it. We had 4 kids. What are you doing, quitting your corporate jobs where we both made really good money at the same time? People thought we were absolutely crazy. And to get over that fear factor and continue to grow daily, I think with this job or with life, if we don't have a strong desire to grow consistently and learn from our mistakes, to get better. It's like that atomic rule: get 1% better each day. If you did that, you'd be 3 times better each year. So it is a common thing for us is to keep growing and keep learning, and that's what I've definitely learned over the last few years.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I think that the abundance thing is a huge benefit to all of us. That there's enough, there's plenty. You just got to be good at what you are, and let everything else, figure itself out.
100%. 100%. We're curious because you're spending so much time as a couple, in business and with the kids and whatnot. Do you guys how do you manage personal time, just like self time that you might need, and also date time with each other? Do you know what I mean? Like to kind of turn off. Do you guys do that at all?
Yeah, so we actually have a 8 to 8 rule. So between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., it's all family all the time. So for example, if I want to work out, I got to schedule it at 6 a.m. because at 8 a.m. I'm back on the clock. Or if I want to go out with my buddies, it's got to be after 8 p.m. after bedtime. But everything else, so we can, whatever we want to do, we can do 8 to 8.
We're all about the rules. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. So we just plan ahead of time, and we just reach out to our friends and be like, hey, let's plan something next month, because we're all young families. And so that's kind of how we do that. But time together, we joke, we spend time together all the time. Do we need more time, where it's just us? We get it all the time. So for us, we don't need that, let's go out for a lunch date or whatever. We're like, I'm good. We're simpletons.
Awesome. And Team Dinnell?
Yeah, we're together a lot, but we're also apart a lot. So we have we're in my office. Chris has an office down the hall. So we work in separate spaces.
I speak too loud.
He's
supposedly.
really, really loud, and I just don't want to hear it all day long. So yeah, he has his own space. He has his own networking group. I have my own networking group. So we do that completely separate. We do go to events together, but we network separately a lot. And then he's got his golf, and I've got my hobbies, and so we do have just separate things that we do. And then there's lots of time where we go for dates or we go for evening walks, and I have to tell him we're not gonna let's just use this hour to not talk about work. And then it's 10 minutes before he's like, oh, blah blah blah, the client today. So I have to remind him. But that's a hard part for us. If we go to dinner or something and it's supposed to be a special thing, we end up still always talking about work. It does happen. We just have to catch ourselves. But that's the thing is it's what we both do, and it's what we're both interested in. So it's it's not really offensive to talk about it because it's our thing. And we talk about other things as well, but we probably tend to talk about work a lot for sure.
how about Konstantin and Mary? And you guys do have the time together because you guys have two businesses. What is it that you guys like to enjoy about it?
You know what? I think we both love the evolution of each other. Like, we're different people than we were when we started out. Like we've been dating, I think, since 2007. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
1 point for Konstantin.
Like we were different people. We had different goals. We had different definition of happiness. And that definition has really changed throughout the years. And I think we're all about how do we get more happiness, and what does happiness mean? Where are we in each other's lives? And I think it's great to like evolve together and have a partner and to like fix problems together. And I think we just find more problems to fix. It's super rewarding.
I want to make a comment too. Sorry. It's all about you guys. But what I love is that both of these teams they have their own rules that work for them. Mm-hmm. It's super inspiring to see because it just shows us as well that there's not one right way of doing something, nor is there one right way of getting somewhere and having the abundance that you seek. So this is just so great. I love learning from you guys.
You guys both have really good social media channels. Tell us, Team Kleiner, where we can find you on social media and where you guys come up with the content. Like, how do you come up with the content? Because there's a lot of interaction with your kids online. So we'd be interested to know, is there some sort of branding company you've adopted and where you find this content? And this question's for both of you guys. But we'll start off with Con and Mary.
Okay, so our idea, where does it come from? It comes from us. We do like little workshops with ourselves. Everything's in-house. And I have a wonderful person, which I'm going to shout out for, which is Diane Lazetta. She actually started her own graphic design and worked with me for many years on all of our other businesses. And she knows me so well. She I think of something and she could just output it. And like together we've really become our own team. And she helps me out a lot on outputting my vision. So kind of same thing we say, Con and I kind of have the ideas, but I don't have the time or the output to put it pen to paper. So she helps me do that. And one thing that we love about our business, with the both of them, is how our clientele is our employees. Like they are out there doing the work for us, and we have to nourish and love these guys and our team, because they help us build our dream, and in return we want to build their dreams. And so example, like Diane has started her own kind of marketing consulting business, and so that's kind of like a relationship that we have. And so together we work as a team. She still works with us, but that's on that end of who helps us with the output of like design and our brand. But a lot of it comes from us. We literally sit down and we brainstorm, Post-its on all over the walls. And we can go, okay, what is this? And then how do we kind of condense it all? For video ideas, the Kleiners, like if you know us, they go, the Kleiners with 500 kids. And they're everywhere and they do everything. And so we wanted to stay true to who we were and what we do. And what we do and what we, you're never going to see us with not a kid. So we want to make sure our branding represents that. And that's our clientele, people with families. So I think that's how we do it. And, we all spend time on social media and on our phones. But how my brain works is, if I see something go, that's trending, that's cool. How can I spin that into what I want to do in my business? Even if it has nothing to do with moving in real estate. How can you spin it and do that? So when we were in moving, I wanted to do, I'm not sure if you guys follow us on our moving side, Kleiner Services, but all of our clients have a sign that says moved with the Kleiners. And I stole that from real estate. Like everyone had a for sale sign. I'm like, well, why can't we do that for just moved with Kleiners? And that actually was a transition for us into real estate, actually. So
yeah, I was just gonna say that we used to have a saying that said, "There's a right way, there's a wrong way, and there's the Kleiner way."
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you just gotta do it. Like there's no right way. There's
no wrong way.
You gotta try, and if it doesn't, actually, another rule is we don't like to use the word try in our house. You either do it or you don't.
Yeah.
When you try to do something, you're
setting up to fail.
You're setting yourself up to fail. So just do it, and if the results don't come in, let's see why, and then do it again.
Yeah, for sure. So we have we're going to shift it a little bit. We have a question for both of the teams here. We want to know, we'll start with Dinnell. What sets you apart from other dream teams?
Well, I think it's our community presence. I think we really I think when we first got in this business, there was just so much, don't like to use the word hate, but hate on realtors. There's so many amazing realtors out there, and the 1% that somebody may have done something bad makes it look all bad on us. And we really wanted to change that in our community. We really wanted to show that realtors absolutely care and give back and do a lot. So we really wanted to set ourselves apart by being, Richmond's community realtors, and that's kind of what we created with our marketing and our online presence and giving back and however we could, if that was to run clothing drives for homeless or helping out with the food bank during COVID, whatever we can do
Taco challenge.
We even did a taco eating challenge last year that we've now doing a second annual one here that's going to help raise money for
huge fundraiser.
Wigs for Kids. So, we've helped out with school, elementary, playground fundraisers, whatever we can do, getting us in the community and showing people that we care about our community. Like, I've lived here for all my life, so born and raised here, I've never left. I think that shows in our marketing. And, even the other day I was speaking with a client that, she had said she read about us in the paper, and that's why she reached out, right? That's the type of stuff why we do what we do, and we think that sets us apart from everybody else out here.
And your videos, your online social media is really highlighting the areas of Richmond and its history. So I really want to compliment you guys on that content. Now, going back to that previous question, do you guys hire a branding company or?
No, we did. Like, at first, when we first got started, we did everything on our own. And so I was editing all our own videos on iMovie. And we didn't have the money to pay for anybody to do it. And then actually, beginning of COVID, we had somebody reach out to us, a young kid named Trent Stonehouse. So shout out for you, Trent.
Not a young kid.
He's almost 30 now.
He's 30.
He was young. He's young compared to us. But he reached out to me, and
he's like he's 12 years old. He's not 12 years old.
Well, he's reached out to us, and he just starting at this social media company, and he wanted to edit our videos free for a month. And I said, free videos for a month?
Sure.
Absolutely. So I let him do it, and they came out fantastic. I said, well, how much are you going to charge me? And he was charging us only $500 a month for a video a week to be edited, and just to get started. And I said, you're hired, buddy. So we used him for the last 2 years. Then we actually had him doing some of our social media stuff. But when we hired our son, Scott, he has, he's young. He's got a good desire for social media, and we were able to have video editing. So now he's taking over everything. He does all our video editing. He does all our social media, and we do meet weekly each Monday morning to go over what we want for the week, what we plan for the week, what videos we're going to have for the week, and things like that.
And that's like a family decision. So we talk as a group as to what the social media content's going to be for the week, what the video topics are going to be. Is that in line with something that's coming up in the city or a holiday or something creative? And we just try to brainstorm as a group, try to do something that no one else is doing. We don't want to be doing the same content as everybody else. So that's how we do it.
That's amazing. We can really see the passion coming through too, right? It's showing your guys' vision. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Team Kleiner, your turn now. What is it specifically that sets you apart from other dream teams?
I think for us it's empathy. Like, transitions are hard, change is hard. This is a huge emotional, financial change, and we get it. Like, we understand, for some people it might be the moving, for some people it's signing the papers, for some people it's dealing with their parents' stuff. We get it. We understand. We don't we don't rush it. We give them time, we give them space, we give them support so when they need it. And we get it, we understand. We know that it's hard. Right? Mm-hmm. So we are there for them, and that's our main thing. Our main thing is we show up, we're there, we're present, and we're gonna help them.
We listen to them, we kind of learn how their habits are, and I think kind of work with that a little bit and really kind of support the clients in that way, depending on either business. And just kind of be a network. So, community is a big one for us. I sit on a lot of boards, and We do lots of stuff for the school and our synagogue, and we listen and we reach out, and we never kind of, they always go like, how do the Kleiners have so much energy to do everything? Because we have the love and the compassion to do it, and we want to help, and we enjoy it, and to have that community, I think is really important, because you don't have that community and you're in a time of need. You'd be surprised how many people come up to be like, hey, like, we're here for you. And I think it's the same for us. We care a lot. And our hashtag before, when we first started, was hashtag how can we help? Like, tell me, what is it? Like, it might not be the service that we're providing, but we'll find you something or someone that can do it. And I think being resourceful, and kind of network in that way is really important, and kind of brought us to where we're at now, I think.
Yeah, and I think like we're defined by our actions. So the more actions we can do out there, the more you're a bigger person, you live a bigger life.
Which brings us to our next question. What is one core value that represents both you as a couple and as work partners that you like our listeners to know about you? One core value. This would be for Team Kleiner.
Actually, we have 4 core values, but
which I'm
we can
happy to
pick one.
share.
Yeah, we can pick one.
Yeah, so we actually did I like to do little meetings and workshops with ourselves. And so when we did the first business, our core values were professionalism, leadership, education, and community. And then when we were starting real estate, we're like, oh, okay, well, let's do this another workshop again. And we sat there and we're like, no, like, this is who we are. These are our 4 pillars to our life. Why would it change from one business to another? Whatever we do should be, it's us down to the core, and how we want to do it in any aspect in our life, through business, friendship, family decisions. Like, those are the things we want to educate people and empower people, which is through our community, our employees, whatever, and be really professional about it. Like, like when you're
no gray areas.
Yeah, no gray. Yeah, that's right. So that's kind of, does that answer your question?
Yes, you
It
gave
was
me
very-
4.
yeah,
that's
that was
awesome.
yeah.
And Angela and Chris?
Well, because we started off with Oakwin, we kind of stole the work hard, or what is it?
Work hard, stay humble.
And then we added on the end, help others. So that's our little spin on it. And we actually have that up on the wall in Chris's office. So our big thing is to help people. So one of the unique things about us is that when we go into a listing appointment, we're able to sit there and go through the whole thing and find out specifically a different way from each client how we can help them in that whole transaction. So some people it's something very simple. Other people it's a huge, if it's a single lady, we'll do a number of things for her. But we are really flexible in how we service our clients, and we go in there, we see the needs, and then we identify them, and we take care of them. We're all about helping people. So whether that's in the community or whether that's in our specific transactions with our clients. So that's our main, I guess, core value or our mission statement. We need to help people.
So speaking of community then, how do you guys build a strong connection with your community?
Well, as we've said, we get involved in so many, we actually don't even get involved in community things. We initiate community things. So Chris and I have initiated and executed a number of different fundraisers or community outreach programs or different things to help people, probably 2 a year. And that's not because for any other reason other than the opportunity came up and we saw it and we just jumped on it and did it. And that's just what we're going to continue to do, because we like helping people. It's just that's a benefit of this job. We've been blessed enough to be able to make enough money where we don't have to worry about money, so that we can use our extra time to really give back rather than having a side hustle or doing other things. We have all this extra time to be able to put towards helping the community in some way or another.
And it's definitely a passion. Growing up here in Richmond, Richmond has just changed so much over the years, and we just love to do what we can to like she was saying with our clients, we identify what they need. Well, it's the same thing with our community. We try to identify what our community needs and needs help with, and we're going to jump in there and try to help out and do the best that we can. And success breeds success. So if we're being successful in our community, it's going to help other people be successful in our community as well.
Yeah, I feel like we're very aligned in some of our the way we do things. Community is a huge thing. We get involved with the school, the families, in our community. A big one is, I love to serve on boards. I've been on boards I feel like my entire life. And it's a great way for me to open my eyes to see what are the other challenges in nonprofit areas. I was on a board with BC Wheelchair Sports for many years. Now I'm on the board at our synagogue and I help out with the school pack. And because we come with literally a truckload of resources like our trucks and manpower, we just end up helping a lot of people through that, not because of our resources. During the pandemic, we started a campaign called Kleiner Gives, and we did a week of giving for 52 weeks to different communities and to support local businesses in the area. So we did that for a while, and we're going to continue to do that, but our campaign is changing a little bit for now, instead of kind of just hitting out 52 weeks, is to really concentrate on one campaign every month that affects, people in the community or what might be happening in the world right now. So that's kind of what we're doing to make sure that we are helping those that are directly in our lives, but also those that are outside in our worlds.
Yeah, and if anybody wants, if anybody knows a good charity that they'd love to help out, please hit us up. We're happy to, to learn more about more things, learn about more people in need.
And
It's all about that.
And that comes with the education aspect too. Is learning more about why are these organizations out there doing the things that they want, what are their passion, and kind of learning and collaborating with them a little bit with that. I think that kind of empowers us to stay fresh with our mindset and be more helpful. How can we evolve ourselves and stay on top of the world has changed so much during the pandemic, pronouns, all these things. It's a lot to absorb as we age.
Yeah.
Not saying that we're old,
Yeah.
but it's a big thing. And having open hearts and open hands to do mitzvahs and do these things for others.
Yeah, Chris and Angela, I think you guys are lucky. You have these older kids that are able to guide you through all these social things and all these social trends. And you're just wow.
Yeah,
We're very lucky. Yeah.
They do really help keep us young. The words that they say, I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're learning from them each day. To be
Yeah.
honest, it's
Some of the stuff's
Yeah.
And we thought we were hip, we're young parents, but some of the stuff is what?
You were.
You guys
we
are-
were. Yeah, that's exactly what
You're
we're learning
still
now. We
hip.
were hip. We're not anymore. So
Yeah.
my Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre is not hip anymore to the kids. That when I'm pounding it and driving them to school, they don't like that anymore.
No.
So we're coming up to the top of the hour. It's gone by so fast because these are awesome responses and
Awesome
lovely
humans.
to hear. Yeah, the synergy. We're going to have this fun section is our rapid fire questions, but couple style. And this is inspired by TikTok. And what I want you guys to do is after our question, point. So it needs to be one or the other. So you're pointing to the other person or yourself. But also say the name of the person because some of our audience members are only listening on audio. So the first question is, who is more competitive?
Mary.
Chris.
Mary.
Chris, okay.
Okay. Who's the better deal closer?
Angela.
Mary.
Who is likely the first to spend their commission money once a deal completes?
Angela.
Konstantin.
Okay.
Who is more likely to get a speeding ticket on their way to a
Chris.
showing?
Konstantin.
If there's no kids in the
Yeah,
car,
I mean, I'm the
it's pedal
same
to the
way.
It's pedal to the metal regardless. So
Yeah.
Okay. Who takes on more difficult clients?
Mary.
I say me.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, dispute.
Depends.
Depends.
Okay.
We never have difficult clients. You're all amazing people.
Oh.
um, a last question before our final question. Who initiates date nights?
Angela.
I was gonna say,
Mary, it's in the calendar.
yeah, I do because I have to put in the calendar.
I'm actually curious, Mary, what was your job before Kleiner Services? Like, where did you get your organizational skills?
I think it's like it's in my bloodstream. I started off with like great McDonald's, and I worked my way up. And what I loved is like McDonald's, they kill on their processes and their training program, and that's what truly opened my eyes. And then from there, the trend was like, oh, here's this new Starbucks in town. So then I learned all of their processes. So I went into like franchising and opening like McDonald's and Starbucks's corporate and training the training programs. And so I have a little HR background in that, but for me, it's more business processes of seeing like from like literally opening from scratch these businesses. So for me, that's kind of like it drawed me to that because I think it literally is in my blood.
Right.
Like,
How about Chris? Like, what was your corporate job before real
I
estate?
was selling uniforms actually. I worked for the store Marks. They have a B2B side called Marks Commercial. So I was one of their outside sales reps, selling uniforms and selling boot programs and safety programs to people. So
And where can our listeners find you, Angela and Chris?
well, you can find us on Facebook at the Dinnell Real Estate Group and Instagram Dinnell Real Estate Group and YouTube Dinnell Real Estate Group.
Team Kleiner?
I'm, on top of it. So if you handle us at Team Kleiner anywhere, you'll find us Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, websites. Team Kleiner is the way to go. Hopefully you guys will see our vans and trucks driving around. So say hi or snap a photo. We're everywhere.
Yeah. And I have to say, you guys do great moves because you moved a client of ours a few years ago and they raved.
Oh, yay.
You guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. We know you're balancing a lot, and it was such an honor to have you on the podcast today. So excited to see you out there in the real estate world. I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Absolutely. Thank you
killing it.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.